Mega Man X has always been about speed, precision, and reflexes. So in 2004, when Capcom announced a turn-based JRPG starring X, Zero, and Axel, many people didn't know what to think. No dashing through spikes, no perfect frame jumps, just menus, party members, and RPG systems. And yet Mega Man X Command Mission exists. And for a lot of fans, myself included, it's one of the most fascinating experiments that Capcom ever released. Especially now with a new Mega Man game just announced at the 2025 Game Awards, I found myself going back and replaying this game and appreciating it in a whole new way. Released in 2004 on the Sony PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo GameCube, Mega Man X Command Mission arrived at a strange point in the franchise's history. By this point, the Mega Man X series was deep into its lifespan, and fans were also divided on where the series was headed, and Capcom began experimenting aggressively with its legacy IPs. Instead of another action platformer, Capcom made a bold move and said, what if we make a Mega Man X JRPG? Not a spin-off with new characters, not a side story, but a full-length turn-based RPG with the core cast of characters. That alone makes Command Mission historically important. This game represents one of the biggest genre pivots that Mega Man has ever seen. Gone were fast platforming, real-time combat, and reaction-based gameplay, and in their place were turn-based battles, party management, as well as skill upgrades and systems. The way X, Zero, and Axel fought was in a whole different way. Now with strategic turn order, special abilities, and a meter-based system that rewarded planning rather than reflexes. For longtime fans, it was jarring, yet also exciting. And for a young kid like myself back at the time, this was definitely a huge change from something that I really did enjoy. Command Mission takes place in Giga City, a massive floating metropolis that becomes the center of a new crisis. A powerful Maverick rebellion rises under the leadership of Epsilon, threatening both humans and Reploids. X once again steps into his role as a reluctant hero, not because he wants to fight, but because he has to. And X is joined by Zero with his signature aggression and honor, Axel bringing adaptability and flair to the party, and the cast of original characters built specifically for RPG combat. It's familiar Mega Man X storytelling, but filtered through a slower and more methodical lens. Two mechanics really define Command Mission, with Force Metal being the first. In terms of Force Metal, these function as the game's primary upgrade modifiers. They allow players to boost stats to specialized character roles, change combat behavior via elemental or status effects, and manage risk versus reward by balancing power against erosion limits. It's a simple system that encourages deep build experimentation. The next is Hyper Mode, and this is where the game captures the soul of the Mega Man X series. Hyper Mode allows characters to transform mid-battle into enhanced boss-tier forms, access unique abilities like Zero's Absolute Zero or X's Ultimate Armor, and shift momentum by bypassing standard turn constraints for massive damage. It's flashy, dramatic, and perfectly adapts the power-up fantasy of X into a strategic RPG format. If Force Metal is the prep and Hyper Mode is the power, these next mechanics are the execution. The first being action triggers. These are character-specific special moves that require player input. They move beyond simple menu selection by rewarding skill by using fighting game inputs or rapid button mashing to determine damage. Spending weapon energy, which forces players to decide whether to attack now or save energy for a bigger blast later, and differentiating the cast, making every character feel different to control, from Axel's DNA transformation to Marino's slot machine. The next being Final Strike. This is the ultimate reward for aggressive play. When a boss's health drops below a certain threshold, the whole team joins in and all active party members rush the enemy for a cinematic finishing move. There's infinite energy, and for a few seconds you have unlimited power to finish a fight, and also Momentum Mastery, which turns the end of a grueling boss battle into a victory lap. It bridges the gap between turn-based strategy and the high-octane action that the X series is known for. Now, while I've talked about how cool I think this game is and how I really enjoy it, I will say when the game launched, reception was mixed. Critics praised the combat system, the visuals and the character models, and the novelty of the combat. But many also criticized the simplistic RPG mechanics, limited depth compared to the other giants in the JRPG genre, and also very repetitive dungeon design. And honestly, while I do enjoy this game, those criticisms really aren't incorrect. But over time, I will say something interesting has happened. For many fans, Command Mission became a cult favorite. Not because it was perfect, but simply because it was different. It by no means tried to replace classic Mega Man X. It certainly didn't overstay its welcome, and it truly existed as a bold what if. And honestly, sometimes that's enough. And honestly, for me, this game hit at the perfect time. I was a young kid that grew up on Mega Man Extreme on my Game Boy and Mega Man Network Transmission on my Nintendo GameCube at the time. And those games from a young age shaped how I view action games, and honestly still have shaped how I view action games today. So seeing X, Zero, and Axel in a full RPG honestly was special for a young kid like me at the time, and truly is still special to me today. And it's very interesting how this series wanted fans, including a young kid like myself, to engage with it in a completely new way. And now, after the announcement at the Game Awards that a new Mega Man game is coming, playing Command Mission truly feels nostalgic and timely for me. And it truly feels like a reminder that this franchise has always been willing to experiment. Now, while like I said, this game is very special to me, I will say Mega Man X Command Mission, of course, is not the best Mega Man game. And it's not even the deepest RPG, and truly it's not for everyone. But it's certainly one of the bravest entries in the entire franchise. In an era where nostalgia often means playing it safe, Command Mission stands as proof that Mega Man can evolve, genre boundaries can certainly be challenged, and not every experiment needs to become a series staple for it to matter. Mega Man X Command Mission is different, flawed, and unexpected, and that's exactly why it deserves to be remembered. And if Capcom is willing to experiment again, especially after this new game announcement, then maybe it's time we go back and give games like this the credit they deserve. Of course, not as replacements for the classics, but as bold side paths that made the series richer. So of course, as mentioned, this is truly a game that is very special to me, and honestly, I did want to shed some light on it after I got super excited to see that announcement at the Game Awards, and I do want to know down below what you guys think about the Mega Man series in general, about Command Mission, or anything about Mega Man, so please leave anything you want to say about Mega Man down in the comments section. And if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate if you give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, then definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, as I have a lot of really fun reviews, breakdowns, and retrospectives coming in the near future. Thank you all so much for watching though, and I am out. Peace.